Hey everybody, it is another episode of Point of Disorder. Your host Norris Howard here, joined by the illustrious crew.
I'm Adrienne. Hi.
And I'm Julie.
Yeah, we're going to have a really jam-packed show this week because it has been one of the busiest news weeks I think we've seen in, I don't know, half my whole life.
Since last week, Norris.
Yeah, since last week, actually. But don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms as well as YouTube at Point of Disorder. You can also follow Distill Social on all your social media platforms, and you can follow the Guerrilla Politic as well. Now, let's get straight into the show. Donald Trump, President of the United States, decided that he wanted to show up in Michigan, and boy, it was eventful. It seemed like almost every stop he made, it was a separate story onto itself. But let's start with his first stop at a Ford plant here in Metro Detroit. And I mean, this has caught the news like wildfire. Apparently, a worker there called him a pedophile protector. And Trump decided, instead of handling it with grace, instead of, being the bigger person, he mouthed F you to him and gave him the finger. And the Ford employee has now been suspended.
Yes. And I just want to point out, he gave him the middle finger with his tiny man hands.
He does have
He really has tiny hands.
I think there's a lot in this. I think there's a lot from obviously the person that did it, but it's a big show for Trump. If you think about it, he has just, Teflon Don, as they call him. He has just kind of waded through everything over many, many years. Since 2016 or before that, when he basically said he could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and get away with it, right? So he's been Teflon Don, nothing. Like normally when people have a go at him or throw shade or shit at him, he just is like, whatever, just basically brushes it off and moves on. But he's basically spent years trying to bury everything under the bluster, the lawsuits, the intimidation and the silence. That's what he's spent many years doing. It was so telling to me that this two fucking words, pedophile protector, just got that visceral response from him. It was stunning to me.
Because we normally actually don't see that from him.
No,
we normally
that's what I'm
see him send out a Truth Social post or something weird at a press conference.
Calling someone rude.
Yeah, he'll call someone rude or ugly or fat. Yeah. He will very rarely profanely basically cuss somebody out and give him the finger. That statement really got under his skin.
It cut through, and what was so interesting, he's been accused of so many things: corruption, fraud, sexual assault, all of these things. This is not the first time that he's been accused of something. So it is really interesting the way that he's reacted. But I think what's even more interesting is the guy that said this. Not an activist.
No.
I mean, although probably the FBI is out there now fucking trying to,
Well, the Secret Service took his picture and ousted him immediately, so they're probably going to be investigating all of his social media and ties and things.
But he's not. He's not an activist.
He's a regular guy.
He's not a shitster or anything like that. In fact, the comment that he made, which I thought was really interesting, he's not a pundit, he's not a professional, dissenter or anything like that. His comment about when he was interviewed by, I think it was the Washington Post that interviewed him, he said, "I don't feel as though fate looks upon you often. And when it does, you'd better be ready to seize the opportunity." So clearly he saw this as an opportunity to basically, to say something. Mm-hmm. And I'm so here for it.
He is. I regret nothing.
I regret nothing. No regrets.
Yeah, no regrets.
He put the Epstein files back at top of mind again because I know that those started getting buried under a lot of the other things we're going to talk about today. But only 1% of the Epstein files has been released. The deadline was December 19th or something like that. And so he was able to kind of just with 2 words put them back at the top of mind. And I really thought yesterday when I heard about this, holy shit, this guy's got some balls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got literally Ford, what's his face? The CEO of Ford, whatever his first name is.
The latest Ford.
The latest Ford.
The latest Ford son.
Walking the plant floor, tons of people around, and he heckled him. And I think he had the right to do that. It's free speech. If Obama's been heckled a ton, I can tell you right now, if he'd done factory floor and somebody heckled him, that was not going to be his response. And the people who heckled him at that time didn't get dragged out.
No.
Right? And get suspended without pay.
Again, because I think what people are seeing is an attack on somebody like a Hillary Clinton or a Barack Obama was not an attack on the system itself. And people are feeling like Donald Trump is the manifestation of what white men wish they could be. They wish they could be ultra rich, but also out of shape, but also not have to care about anything or anyone's feelings, say whatever pops into their mind instantly, and somehow still be in the highest office on the planet. This is the dream made manifest. And so to attack him and to insult him is to insult the very foundation on what this is all built on.
You're getting very meta on me. To me, he's the manifestation of crony capitalism and senile shitbag.
That's the system I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It is multiple systems working at the same time.
Oh my God. My mind is blown.
But, I think what is more telling about this is the fact that Ford then pulls the guy to the side. It's one thing to say, hey, man, you heated. Go home for the rest of the day.
They had him removed.
Immediately and suspended immediately.
Without pay.
Yep. Again, if they'd have said, yeah, man, they told me to go home, I'm heated, come back tomorrow when everything chill out, right? To me, that's good management. Okay, fine. But because of the context around it, because of the fact that, Ford management was there with the president, he's been suspended without pay, but the people have backed him up. What's the GoFundMe up to now?
Right now, it's at $365,000 as of this recording today. So
get that bread.
Yeah, that's right. If you guys want to go help this gentleman, there is a GoFundMe page for him at this moment.
And you know what I love about this is that we've seen constant GoFundMes for people who get caught up in saying really crazy racist stuff and then get fired for it, or that lady who called the police on my man just taking pictures of birds in Central Park.
She was walking her dog.
Yeah, she was walking her dog and freaked out and she lost her job. They put a GoFundMe out for her and, she didn't have to work anymore for a little bit. And it's it's actually good to see this sort of tactic being used for somebody who just voiced an opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
I just want to point out Ford's response.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Because it was so fucking milquetoast. They had to put out a formal statement which basically said that they had a great event. It was a great event.
Great event.
It was
The best
great.
event.
The
best
best.
event ever. One of our core values is respect, and we don't condone anyone saying anything inappropriate like that within our facilities. I would just like to say,
have you been to a plant before?
Yeah.
well, I mean, that's one thing. Obviously, plants are not full of people fucking, walking around, speaking quietly and
Having
being
tea,
polite to one another.
Keeping their pinkies out.
That's right. Okay, so your problem was with someone that said pedophile protector, that basically had a go at someone who is clearly protecting pedophiles. So we are way past saying allegedly now, because at the end of the day, there is a full pedophile ring that is being protected at the moment. We have been waiting for the details as to who was involved for fucking years, and someone's protecting them. Someone's doing that. So put that aside. But they're talking about they don't condone anyone saying anything inappropriate like that. The President of the United States turns around and says, fuck you twice to one of your workers and gives it the bird. And
A very tiny bird.
And that's appropriate?
Right.
That's appropriate. So you condone that? That is basically all good. The President of the United States. Who the fuck is going to suspend him and put him on leave without pay?
No kidding.
Exactly.
And I will not be contributing to his GoFundMe if he
The
does
midterms. The midterms are hopefully going to do that.
The midterms are how people do that.
Yes.
But just last point here is that, we do have some of the Michigan legislators, both that are mostly in Washington right now, but they have put out statements in support of this worker. Debbie Dingell has put out a statement saying, this is inappropriate. We shouldn't be doing this. Rashida Tlaib, as we know, is one of the most vocal politicians Michigan has. She has put out, her support of the worker. And, ultimately what we've got to look at here is we've got to ask ourselves not just at what standard do we hold the president, because that is flown out the window at this point, but at what standard are we holding ourselves? Because if I'm in public and I saw a person like this exchange between two individuals just on a street somewhere, my first reaction would be to both of them, y'all, chill out, right? To everybody involved, chill out. But instead, the reaction was, let's suspend this guy for saying something that everybody's thinking. But there's no statement to the president. The president's a guy. He's a dude. So any dude can be rude, inappropriate, so on and so forth. And so I think it was very weak for management to be like, hey, we put them to the side, but Mr. President, can you not disrespect my employees?
But that shows where the power does lie, right? Ford is a massive global corporation, and they want Trump on their side. They don't want things to come. They don't want the shit to slide downhill to them. So they're just going to side. They're going to side with management, essentially. Management sides with management.
This is a manifestation of exactly where we are in society right now here in the United States, and that is the powerful, the wealthy are literally joining together, banding together to basically say, fuck you. So I feel like it was the most honest thing that Trump has ever done or said is like, fuck you, because he's saying fuck you
to the workers,
all of us,
to
all
everyone.
of us workers, normal people out there, for years. So all of a sudden he's being honest. Can I just also make a little joke, because I do love a little joke, but if the three of us were walking along and someone yells out pedophile protector, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't even turn my head, because clearly they're not talking to me.
They're not talking to me.
I mean, what I would, but
Just saying.
I think my reaction would just be like,
You certainly wouldn't.
who are you
talking to?
Who are you talking to?
Not me.
Because it ain't me.
You wouldn't immediately go, oh shit, that's me, fuck you.
Right.
Like, that's not your response.
Right. The response seemed a little elevated, right? If you don't have anything to do with it, then
you protest
it's
too much.
Exactly.
Well,
I do want to go back to something that Julie was just saying too about like him kind of showing who he is. I mean, he's done that repeatedly, right?
Yeah.
He like had an AI video of him dropping shit all over the American people and protesters and all of that. One of the things I did find funny, and I think it was Gage who pointed this out, but he was walking along the assembly line, and this is the F-150 plant, okay, where they make trucks, and there are truck chassis on the assembly line. And one of the quotes that he said, pointing at it, do you make trucks here? Like,
that was one thing.
like,
that
oh, the senile shitbag is. He's looking around, waking up, going, "Oh, there's trucks in this building." I just thought that was pretty amusing.
Yeah. Well, speaking of a man behaving in a senile manner, he continued his grand tour of Southeast Michigan and met with the Detroit Economic Club at Motor City Casino in Detroit. Where he gave a speech that was supposed to be focused on the economy, but as we know, with Donald Trump, it's going to go all over the place.
But, I mean, I know you were there, Norris.
You
went along, but it felt to me, you were sending clips to us as to what was happening, and it felt to me very much that he was thrown by what happened at that Ford plant. He was definitely...
He seemed a bit off his game.
Yeah.
Normally, he's a lot sharper. He seemed at the start of the speech to be very tired. Mm-hmm. And then he picked up pace a little bit, but at around the 30-minute mark, it fell off the rails. I mean, he began talking about Joe Biden and just like spent 3 minutes like moaning and grunting into
When
the
you sent
microphone.
that clip, I thought, why are you sending me a clip of like an 80-year-old man having an orgasm?
Why
That is
is
just
he
something
up
no
there?
one needs to see.
But like, why is he up there that long? That's my question.
He always is. That's what he
He
does.
always is.
Yeah, they just
He's
let
like
him go on and
Yeah.
on.
Well,
Like,
the thing is, the speech is written for 30 minutes.
and then he just goes
But he
on.
just goes, and he says it. He was just like, I go off script all the time.
But that's what people.
Aren't you happy? Aren't you happy you have a president who could go off script?
No, I don't. I want
I
you to
go
be
off
quiet and
prompter.
go away.
So can we first of all start, Norris? I'm going to ask some questions of you. I'm going to be the journalist for a minute. So tell us about, because it was the Detroit Economic
Yes.
Club that he was presenting to.
Yes.
Tell us about the folks there, because you sent us some video and I'm like, oh my God, I've
So-
never seen so many ill-fitting suits and overweight, middle-aged men in my life.
The yes
So the
men
thing,
there.
the thing
Please
to be,
describe.
I think the thing to be cognizant of is there were very two different, distinct groups that were there. There was the normal Detroit Economic Club group, which is, you know, for better or for worse, a really kind of politically agnostic group. These are capitalists, right? They only care about how much money they're making, and if that means we're dealing with Democrats, whoever, right? So
They don't give a shit who they fuck.
exactly. And so every president has been invited to speak at the Detroit Economic Club. Now, the first panel was a panel about the auto industry, of which I found hilarious because they spent 5 minutes talking about how much the tariffs suck. And like, and one lady in particular who I have to pull up her name, but she was the CEO of a woman-led parts manufacturer, one of the only women-owned parts manufacturers in the world, actually. And she said, listen, we're going to see a short-term bump, but the tariffs suck. Not an hour later, you have Trump on stage talking about how wonderful the tariffs are. And I just thought this could not be the most unhinged, not realistic conversation to have in one room. Where
It's
one person,
1984.
one person is literally telling you, stop believing your lying eyes.
Double speak.
Yeah, all of that. So that group was there. They were ushered out.
Yes,
And
that was the luncheon.
That was the luncheon.
I've been to those luncheons before, and
Very dry,
it's just
very
very
tame.
dry, boring. You know,
Here's your one ticket for your drink.
Yes,
They
exactly.
don't even give you a drink. Once again, I've got a lot of complaints, but yes, one of them
Yeah.
is no one ever provides
But
drinks at
then,
these
but
things.
then the Trump crowd was standing outside and waiting to be shuffled in right after. And I can tell you, and this is me taking myself out of reporter mode and talking about just Norris as a human being. It's been a long time since I felt so icky and had so many microaggressions against me in one place. Of like, you know, trying to walk through to get to the coffee line and you say, excuse me, and literally somebody just goes,
Yeah.
you know? Or to say like, oh, hey, man, I saw a guy, he had a Pistons hat on. I said, yeah, man, Pistons are doing really good. He goes, yeah.
Oh my.
Walks off.
No
Yeah.
wonder you needed 2 showers
You know
yesterday.
what I mean? Like it was disgusting, just the way people behaved and the way people interacted with you.
I'm sorry, and you're welcome at the same
that's
time.
life.
It's kind of an
That's
experience.
life
It
with
is a
dealing with
different
these people.
experience, I'll tell you. These things that
Yeah. Strangely, the nicest person to me there that was not press were, you know, the Detroit Economic Club staff were fantastic. And Eric Nesbitt.
Oh, Eric.
God.
So I talked to him for about 5 minutes.
Eric with an A.
Eric with an A. He was very kind and effusive. And just
He's a politician.
took 5 minutes to just say things that were not true to me. And, you know, I had to push back on him on a couple things because we were talking about, you know, what happened in Minneapolis, which we will go into detail later on in the show. But his main point was that we need to cooperate. We need to have cooperation between state, local, and federal authorities.
Okay.
That the federal
Shocking.
the federal government has taken over the investigation in Minneapolis. So
Yeah.
even what they want is not happening.
Right.
And that it brings me to my larger point of this, which is the vibes were bad in that room.
Really?
The vibes were
What do you mean?
awful.
What?
do you
Yeah.
mean?
Can
So-
you describe it?
When Trump originally took the stage, people did the respectful clap. They stood up and gave the respectful clap. This is the president.
And just to remind
We
us,
respect the office.
Yes, they sat down, right? People sat down and God Bless the USA just kept playing. And he just kept standing there expecting more applause.
Yeah.
And no one gave it to him. It was just dry and silent. It was so bizarre.
so if anyone wants to see that, Distill Social, we posted a short video of that. It was fucking weird.
It was weird.
When you sent it through, like I'm looking at it going, this is like, I've been to many Trump rallies, many Trump events, dinners, all that sort of stuff. Honestly, I think that's the first time that I've seen that in such a, like, he was literally standing there swaying with those weird hands.
He's just dancing. He's doing the Trump dance,
and
the
no
Trump
one's clapping.
shuffle.
It's like completely silent apart from that ridiculous song.
Yeah.
Sorry, anyone likes that song, but whatever.
And the big thing also is that you know how you have an old shirt or an old pair of pants and you know I'm only going to get maybe one more summer out of this shirt.
Yes.
That's how it felt. It felt like you could see the edges fraying of this collective because even the things that they want, even the things that they need for stability, they need to continue to coalesce power are falling apart, right? Like the law and order people can't vibe with the MAGA people. The MAGA people can't vibe with the oligarchs. The oligarchs can't vibe with the law and order people. And so now you have all these forces that all came together under this MAGA umbrella, but now because of what's happened in Minneapolis, because what they're hearing back in district, a lot of them you're starting to see him be a lot more tight-lipped when it comes to him.
So that's the vibe that you got in the room.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's interesting.
So interesting.
I think one of the things I want to kind of speak to is because I wasn't in the room because I don't go to that shit, but I was watching our local affiliate WXYZ last night, Channel 7, and they were quoting him and the things that he was saying. So my major malfunction with that is they quoted him directly. And then they didn't follow up with the fact that what he said was
false.
False.
Bullshit.
Was just
It's
complete
bullshit. We
bullshit.
need to stop.
Right? So one of the things was he won Michigan in the last 3 elections, is what he claims. And I just want to point out, in 2016, he did win. He beat Hillary Clinton by 0.23% of the vote. In 2020, we all know that Joe Biden won by 2.8% of the vote.
Yep.
Joe Biden won in 2020.
Yep.
And yes, Trump won in 2024, and that's why the fuck we're here. But it was a 1.4% margin.
So he was having, when he was talking about that, he was having banter with Matt Hall, Speaker Matt
Oh,
Hall.
gross.
Yeah.
Basically getting all excited. Poor old Matt Hall, he's standing up there by himself. That's great video footage. It looked like, oh my God, sit down, Matt. Please sit down.
His
You
head's
look like
so far up his
You
ass.
look like a fucking dill.
Yeah, it was very strange. No one was dressed well. It was bad energy. It's bad vibes. And the last thing I'll say about it is, his Secret Service people are tiny. They were all little itty bitty,
They were
like
tiny?
20-somethings.
Oh, yeah. Most of the Secret Service it's a hard job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like usually you have a couple guys. You usually have, maybe a grizzled veteran looking guy, or you usually have one bald brother. They always got one bald brother, kind of 6'2", built a little bit. You have a couple women in there. Almost all of them, they were these little bitty,
Really?
Nick Fuentes looking guys.
Oh, jeez.
And like, I was just looking back and I was just like, who are you protecting? Because if I look like I could whoop your ass, you definitely can't stop.
I still
some
wouldn't
other
mess with
people.
any of those guys.
I mean, I'm not. They're
regardless.
highly trained. But I'm like, these the guys you picked for your details?
I know. I don't know. But they're all different in every state, too. There are Secret Service agents all over the country,
Well,
right?
still,
I know.
that ain't the best
Well,
Michigan got to offer.
Yeah, Michigan's got some big dudes.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do. I've
Yeah,
dated a
yeah.
few of them. So essentially, like, there were some other things that were completely false that he said I want to call out. He said that $18 trillion have come into the country from tariffs and just other investments. And this is fucking bullshit. Again, Channel 7, you need to do a better job of fact checking this shit. He's actually citing like a number that's even double what the White House is saying. So like the White House website is saying that it's 9.6 trillion, which is also bullshit. This is basically like aspirational, nebulous plans or like future purchases, future sales, not capital investments. And four of the two biggest line items that they've cited, so the UAE and Qatar investing. First of all, the UAE and Qatar investing in the United States kind of raises my hackles. But that amounts to multiple times those countries' actual gross domestic product. So like the math isn't
not possible.
mathing.
So not possible.
Not possible. Math's not mathing.
But they have invested a lot into his crypto, though.
Yes.
So just remember
So maybe
that.
this is
Maybe
money
that's what he's talking
to Trump.
about. Maybe it's not to us.
Maybe.
No.
Maybe it's to him personally.
Yeah. He also claimed that grocery prices were all down,
Not
which
true.
we know as people who purchase groceries on a regular basis that this is not true. Coffee, candy, beef are all up over 20%. Inflation is at 2.7% higher than it was last year. So he's just living in some fucking la land.
Yeah, and also, by the way, he threatened to deport Ilhan Omar.
Yes.
Saying that she was part of one of the ringleaders of the Somali daycare scams that were going on in Minneapolis. And I think that is a good segue into what is easily the largest story that we just missed, by the way.
It happened while we were recording last
Yeah,
week.
it happened while we were recording last week. And we have to talk about this because it has caused some of the biggest response from the public that we've seen to anything is the murder of Renee Good by the hands of ICE in front of all of our eyes last week in Minneapolis.
So I think we need to call it what it is. It is state violence against civilians.
Yes.
Now, when you arrived today, Adrienne, you mentioned that, for those that have been listening to the pod for over
2 years.
2 years, I think,
Almost
over
2 years.
we've been around. We used to, back in the olden days, kind of,
We'd make fun of Matt Hall.
we would. It was
Or
like,
Maddox.
yeah, fuckery of the week and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It all felt like kind of,
More lighthearted.
yeah. And now it's just so fucking hard because all of the things that we spoke about may happen if Trump got reelected.
Are happening.
They're all happening.
They're happening. I said the night of the election in November of 2024 to the person I was seeing at the time, I said, people are going to die because of this man. And it's happening. It's happening right now. And Renee Good's murder also brings about the fact that there were 25 other people who've been murdered by ICE as well leading up to that.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, listen, over 15 people have been shot just with, between 2025 and now in terms of in the streets, in their cars, being shot. That's happened already 15 times, 4 of which have been fatal.
Yeah.
So this is not like some uncommon thing. This has happened many times. And again, I think the reason why it's catching so much heat right now is just because they shot a U.S. citizen and also a white lady.
And a white lady.
Yeah.
And it's all on video from multiple angles. I think what I was most disturbed by was the video I saw of her looking out of the car saying, "I'm not mad at you, dude." Mm-hmm. And then him calling her a fucking bitch after he killed her.
Yeah, I mean, that just gives you an insight into his state of mind. She's fucking dead. You have shot her in the head
3 times.
3 times. So it wasn't enough just to stop her from driving on, which obviously, there's a lot of conjecture around that. But you had to go up to her window and fucking shoot her when she was likely already dead.
Yeah.
But even beyond that is the manner of response, period. Because fleeing the scene of a crime is not, you're not supposed to discharge a weapon in that moment. In terms, all
You're
law
supposed to
enforcement-
get out of the way
all
of the
law
car.
enforcement training tells you get out of the way of the car.
Right.
Also, by the way, if you look at the video, his his partner's head is halfway in the vehicle.
Right, he could have shot that guy.
He's already discharging his weapon in the general direction of a fellow officer. Also a no-no.
Right.
So we're talking about multiple levels here of misconduct before we can even talk about the state of mind and the tragedy of Renee Good being murdered. I think also what we have to understand here, and I alluded to it earlier, is that the federal government has now taken over the investigation from local authorities. Yeah. This is originally supposed to be the jurisdiction of local authorities, and they began to do an investigation partnering with the Fed, because it was a federal agent that did this. The DOJ has now completely removed all materials from the local, from the servers, from the state, and from local authorities. And so now, I mean, listen, the cover up is on, and it's happening.
Oh no, it's just going to be fully covered up.
Yep.
It's going to be fully covered up. There's nothing, there'll be nothing. I mean, now they're focusing on trying to investigate her partner,
Right.
and her.
Right.
Like that's basically, or her wife, I think it was.
Yes,
Yeah.
her wife. Yeah, and 6 federal prosecutors are quitting. They've quit because of this DOJ inquest and asking them to go after her widow and call her a domestic terrorist as well. So the whole thing is frankly fucked. Like, again, 2 years ago, we're over here. We've got a Democratic president kind of doing lighthearted pushback on Dems in general and Republicans.
We were talking about fucking infrastructure. We were talking about fixing roads.
Fixing
we're talking
roads.
about
That's what local politics should be.
It's what it should be. And, now we have to sit here on this podcast today and talk about the murder of this wife and mother.
a state-sanctioned fucking murder. The state
sanctioned murder of her. And I just find it very ironic that Trump's over here telling Iran and Iranian citizens to keep protesting, help is on the way. But then when we protest here,
we're domestic terrorists.
Someone's a domestic terrorist who gets shot in the face.
Yeah.
They're not indiscriminately firing into crowds yet, but that's my next greatest fear.
Yeah,
people.
Yeah, and because of this, and because of this particular event, obviously we've seen protests all across the country, and protests in Minneapolis obviously have been the largest. But the support now for abolishing ICE is as high as it's ever been.
Yeah,
and
except for Alyssa Slotkin. Sorry.
And probably Haley Stevens.
And
Let's
Haley
put it out there.
Stevens.
Haley Stevens.
Yeah, I'm just going to say she had a resolution to praise ICE last June.
Yeah.
So way to go, Haley.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Keep running for Senate.
But I think for me, I just want to, and this is a personal thing, but I want to put this out, is because people have been using this comparison saying that ICE is moving like the Gestapo and using these tactics, and that's not true. I saw this point put out by a creator. I think her name was Ashley the Baroness or something like that.
Good name.
And they move like slave catchers. They don't move like Gestapo. Gestapo was an ideological thing. We're here because your ideas are counter to the Reich. That's not what they're doing. They're walking into town and going, you come with us, and disappearing people. That is what slave catchers did. Yeah. And I think we need to be very clear and honest about what we're talking about so we can attack this, because I think now people are realizing that this energy has always existed. That's why ICE never got under my skin. I recognize it. It's not new to me.
So they are going door to door now in Minnesota.
Guess who did that?
Yeah.
Slave catchers.
Yeah.
Yep. And if you resisted and you fought back, they killed you, and the authorities paid the difference to your owner. That's what happened.
I hate it here.
So that's where we are right now with ICE, and we need to just keep it funky about ICE, because if you are somebody who wants to be on the right side of history, and you want to be somebody that responds accordingly, and somebody that can be an ally to those who've done nothing wrong but potentially be brought to the country when they're a baby, like, understand what we're fighting against.
Well, I think to
that's
even
really
talk about the fact that what you mentioned earlier here in Detroit, that 4 students have been taken out of their high school.
Yeah.
Minneapolis, they're not even going to school right now. They're all completely remote learning, something they're not talking about in the regular news media. All children are in remote learning right now because they're afraid of ICE picking up children from their schools. And this has happened here in Detroit. As well.
Absolutely. Multiple times.
This has been going on since the administration came in. I can tell you, friends of mine that have kids that go to school in the Detroit system, basically, they say to me that they're little ones, like
babies,
7-year-old,
second graders,
basically and it's impacting not just the kids that are obviously targets of ICE, it's impacting their friends who are going to school and saying, where have all my friends gone? Like, my friends aren't here anymore. Like, this has plays such an emotional toll, I think, on everyone at these schools,
Everybody.
not just those that are the targets of this. But tell us about the international school here that.
Yeah, so Western International High School, which is really in the heart of Southwest Detroit. It is the largest high school that serves Southwest Detroit, which, if you don't know, is kind of the center of the Latin American population in Metro Detroit. Is where most of them live, and ICE has either taken students. They haven't done a direct raid on the school itself,
Right.
but if they've taken someone underage, they've been students of Western International. If they've been high school age, they've been students at Western International. One particular case was really devastating, which is they took 2 young girls, 16 years old. Both of them were cousins. So this family now is not only dealing with one person being taken, but 2. And they were shipped to a detention facility in Texas, and they await asylum hearings currently. They haven't been back yet.
And a reminder that when Trump came in, the whole point of ICE and all of this so-called work that they're doing is to save us from the criminals,
Yes.
the illegals that are criminals,
The
that are raping
16-year-old
us.
girls.
Not fucking 16-year-old girls that go to high school. I mean, like, what criminality are they doing? Like, some sort of like shoplifting at fucking Target? Who knows?
I mean,
But, seriously.
think about your friend groups in high school, and think about all of a sudden you come to school, and 2 of them are just gone.
They're just gone.
Yeah.
Just gone.
Yep.
You know they're not dead. They're just gone.
Nobody knows exactly where they are, and now they're caught up in a whole system, and they might be deported to a country that they've never known.
You know, that sounds like sex trafficking.
Doesn't it?
It absolutely does.
Interesting.
So anyway, speaking of investigating, the Department of Justice, or Department of War 2.0, they got a lot going on right now.
They're very worried
deep-
about wine mums.
They are worried about the wine moms.
They're worried about wine moms.
First of all, that was one of the funniest things I had seen. That was hilarious.
I do find it, I know you think it's hilarious, but I find it to be incredibly insidious when Fox News comes up with an editorial about wine moms. They're calling them organized gangs of wine moms who are using Antifa tactics.
Can I just, this is the quote.
I don't even
The
drink
quote.
anymore, so.
Stop the madness. This is on Fox News, people. Fox News. Stop the madness. What we are seeing across the country as organised gangs of wine mums use Antifa tactics to harass and impede ICE agents is not civil disobedience. It isn't even protest. It's just crime.
It's just crime.
It's just crime.
Wine moms.
Don't half the wine moms watch Fox News?
Probably. I mean, it's
Janine
so,
Pirro's a wine mom.
Oh, no.
but it's so
Judge box
like,
of wine.
Yeah.
I just want to point out, I don't think she's having a nice Chablis. She's drinking out of a box of
No,
wine.
that's Costco wine.
Well, hey, don't drag Costco into this.
Yeah.
It's Sam's Club wine.
Okay, it's Sam's
Thank you
Club
very
wine.
much.
It's all nitrates and grape juice.
Yes, all it is. Yeah, I just think it's super misogynistic, and it's really fucked up to me.
They found another way to be misogynist cunts, basically,
Yeah.
is what I want to point out. Because you're right, it absolutely is.
It's misogyny,
It's
yeah.
misogyny, and it's just kind of like, okay, all right, so you wine mums, it's like, stop already. At the end of the day, these are just why. And I wrote a piece on this a couple of years ago, which I've never shared, but it's this constant fucking. Why is it that women, people of color, and women are always the first ones to fucking stand up?
Yep.
And fight against this shit.
Because we're the ones who have the most to lose.
Most to lose,
right?
yeah.
That's
Exactly.
why, because our rights are the ones being impeded on. But the calling out of women who are in this fight, who are out doing the protests, who are putting their bodies on the line when it comes to these ICE agents as well, like that is so dismissive of who they are as people and the work that they're trying to do. It's
And all
frankly
they're
fucking
trying to
gross.
do is protect their families.
Right,
At the
yeah.
end of the day, what we see, I'm not a mum, I'm a wine aunt, if you'd like
There
to be
you go.
specific
You're a
about
martini
me.
aunt.
I'm a martini aunt.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right. I'm a martini aunt. But all, as far as I can see, for a majority, and Distill was also at the protest yesterday. We had people down there, and we were here until late last night in our studio putting everything together. So please watch the content because it fucking took forever. So please watch the content. But it's so many of the people were mums, women, grandmothers, just people that are just really fucking worried about the society and the country and the world that their children and grandchildren are inheriting.
Yes.
That's big part of it. I mean, I just
And look how reductive it is too.
it's
right?
so reductive.
And that's what I mean. And so I implore everybody out there, like, look at how they talk about you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, look at, obviously I know this may be new to a lot of folks, but look at how they talk about you, because that means they view you as a threat.
Right.
That means they view your voice as a threat, your mobility as a threat, your propensity to organize as a threat. And so if they view you as a threat, then that means it's effective. And, you know, for me and look, going to a number of protests over the past week and a number of events over the past week, I've seen a lot of women leading a lot of movements, and I've seen a lot of brown folks leading a lot of movements.
And I think what we should point out is yesterday when you were at the Trump event, I am dollars to donuts. I bet there were more men than women there, and white men.
No, it was.
There you go.
It was about two guys for every 3 guys for every woman.
There you go. So
It was about 3 guys for every
So
woman.
it was all men inside, mainly white men inside,
Yeah.
and mostly women outside.
I could count on my hand how many young women were there.
Yeah.
Even of the women who were there, they were all at least 45, 50 plus. So definitely very few young women there. But anyway, we're going to run through this very quickly. Adrienne, you have a list of us of all the ongoing DOJ investigations. This is going to be our lightning round of the show.
Well, this is what I'm calling DOJ investigation palooza.
Yeah.
Right. So we all know the DOJ has been weaponized from the Trump administration to investigate enemies and anyone they think are doing things they don't like. We obviously just spoke to what happened to Renee Good and the DOJ wanting to go after her good name as well as that of her wife. Senator Mark Kelly is being investigated by the DOJ because of the comments that he had made about you can refuse illegal orders.
Which is true.
Which is true. You can. And then Alyssa Slotkin, our senator as well, even though I just given her a little bit of a hard time about not abolishing ICE. She is being investigated, and the judge presiding over that is Judge Box of Wine from Fox News.
Lord.
There.
Lordy.
The Federal Reserve Chair, I think this is a good honorable mention right now. Jerome Powell is being investigated by the DOJ. Again, Trump is trying to put all kinds of pressure on him to either do what he wants and lower interest rates or step down so they can appoint some kind of lackey.
So I have a question, Julie, about this, because as what I would consider our financial expert on the panel,
Fuck, we're in trouble.
you know, Trump took time out of his comments yesterday at his speech to talk about Jerome Powell. He called him a stiff that will be out of the way soon. First of all, a lot of people don't quite understand what the Federal Reserve does. So how vital is this? Like, how scary is this that he's trying to go after the Federal Reserve Chair?
So I think it's incredibly scary. For me, it's one of the scariest. I mean, I think people being shot and taken is absolutely frightening, but this is incredibly scary in terms of like the future of America and the future of the United States. And one of the reasons is that it's a well-known fact. You know, all developed countries have like a Fed Reserve or equivalent of, and it has to be independent. The whole point is that the Federal Reserve basically, it manages the economy from the point of view, regardless of who is in place, who the president is or the prime minister, whomever. it should be irrelevant, and they should have absolutely no influence over the Federal Reserve or the people that basically control the economy at the end of the day.
Right.
So the whole point of the Federal Reserve and the interest rates is that if the economy gets too hot, so that is we're spending too much, inflation occurs, right? So the job of the Federal Reserve is not to make the president look better. It is to basically, once you drop interest rates, people start spending more. They have more money in their pocket. They start borrowing more. And that heats up and causes inflation. So that's what interest rates are used for. Now, the problem is if it is not independent anymore, and Jerome Powell is currently the chair, but he's termed out, so he's going to be leaving shortly anyway, right?
Oh, God.
They are trying to, but it's a whole board. You have to remember the Federal Reserve is not just the chair.
Right.
It's a whole board. And the point is that he's trying to not necessarily get rid of Jerome Powell, but basically he's going to leave as chair, but stop him from being on the board. So that's basically what he's trying to do. So it's natural for him to still be on the board. So he's trying to scare him out of, or push him aside, so he won't be on the board, and that gives Trump more power.
I mean, thinking about everything that you just said, and the fact that Trump is up there touting $19 trillion, like the math not mathing. Can you imagine his alternative reality, upside down facts going into the Federal Reserve?
We drive BYDs after that, dog. It's over. It's over.
So that is the point that I was getting to, Norris, is that what's going to happen is we all think that America is like the most powerful country in the world. And militarily,
sure,
probably is, right? Probably have more,
We got all.
We talked about that last week,
right?
Yeah. Right.
Okay. But at the end of the day, America is owned. The majority of the bonds that hold this shit together, Europe, Canada, China.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying,
China.
at the end of the day, if things go to shit.
So you're telling me I need to dump my bonds. I got to go.
I'm not here to give you financial
okay,
advice.
no financial advice.
No financial advice
But
outside of maybe learn Mandarin.
My bonds need to go somewhere else.
learn
Mandarin.
Learn Mandarin.
I'm just saying that the power, there is more than just, Pete, the Secretary Jägermeister and his
of the Department of War.
and all of his toys. There are lots more things that can happen. So at the end of the day, yes, it's very frightening. So I know Trump, what he wants to do with all of this is basically drag down interest rates, regardless of what's happening in the economy, and put more money in people's pockets, so they feel like they've got more money in their pockets, getting ready for the midterm. So that's what he's trying to do.
Yeah. So that's really scary, obviously, with the investigation palooza. Another thing that you actually brought up, Norris, the Washington Post journalist, that her name is Hannah Natanson. All her devices, her phone, her Garmin, they were all seized.
In her home. Yes.
So the DOJ is now investigating this WAPO journalist.
Yes, and they were doing so to say they are alleging that she has somehow obtained classified national defense material, which probably just means she got added to a signal chat by PXF Telegram, whatever they're using.
Yeah.
But this is again one of those scary authoritarian government type things where, again, just like the Federal Reserve, the press, the fourth estate, is supposed to be completely independent of the government, free from persecution, free from, unless they say something irresponsible and, or commit a crime. But this is, again, one of those things where it is the continued intimidation of the press, the devaluing of the press to once again make people more and more and more mistrustful of the press, so that the press can slowly but surely become the office of propaganda.
Yeah.
Right? Because
1984, man.
When you don't have an independent press, the only information is propaganda. That's what we're headed towards. And
I don't think we're heading towards it anymore.
You think we're there?
I think we're there. I feel like we're there.
I think there is enough. I think there is enough free information in terms of content creators and independent press to at least create a buffer to where if people want real information, it is there. I think if we continue on this path, particularly when people feel like, oh, if I speak out against Trump, I'm going to jail, that creates where, the situation that is dangerous.
The only thing I want to say is, so this fellow yesterday at the Ford factory, amazing what he said and what, great. Thumbs up to that guy. I would say to you, there's probably thousands and thousands of Ford workers that would want to say the same thing, but they can't afford.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there is that fear is occurring. So this shit is happening anyway. So yes, there are content creators. There's a lot of slop that out there from AI.
Agreed.
There's a lot of shit that's basically going around and around. I would say for a majority of people, they are sitting there in their homes and saying, you know what, I am too scared to say something because I have to feed my family. I need to whatever.
We all have to feed our families here on this podcast.
Correct, we do.
Right.
But so I feel like I agree there is a little buffer there, but I think we're so deep in it right now, Norris. It's very hard to imagine that we come back from this in any way, shape. Because if you have a look, most people are watching CBS. Most people are watching, whatever on television.
Traditional media.
Mm-hmm. So I sort of beg to differ that I think when you have got investigations into the Federal Reserve Chair, mind you, his response was fucking awesome. Mm-hmm. When you've got investigations on journalists, when you've got people being shot on the street by ICE, I think that we're far further down this.
We are. We're down the rabbit hole.
I think I would speak in terms of press. I think there is the membrane is very thin, but I'm not going to say that it doesn't exist because I know way too many writers and way too many journalists who are still trying to fight the good fight who do it fearlessly, but that number is dwindling by the day.
But that's why I had to point out when I saw what Trump was saying at the Economic Club on WXYZ, and they were parroting his crazy shit and then didn't correct it and didn't fact check it. Instead, that was very disappointing to me.
It triple irritates me because if I can sit in a senator's face and fact check him to his face, and I'm just, who am I? Just some regular guy, basically, as far as he's concerned. Somebody with the backing of a multinational media corporation should have the balls to do it.
That's exactly right. And you know full well that whoever's hearing that, if it's not being fact checked, that's their reality. That's what they see. They literally will listen to that and go, okay, and then they'll start parroting it to their friends and family.
It's ridiculous.
So, anyway, I think we're at a scary point.
Yeah, we are. But we're going to close the show today talking about the state itself. Is one of the biggest years, really, for elections in Michigan. We're going to be selecting a lot of big offices. How many seats are up?
All of them in the House. All of them in the House. All of them in the Senate. The top three.
It's
a
huge year in Michigan, but we're gonna end the show today talking about the governor's race. Adrienne, hit us with the numbers.
Okay, well, a recent poll just came out, and was it fucking Detroit News and WDIV? They did this poll. Mind you, Detroit News is a little bit more right leaning, so we'll take these numbers with a grain of salt, like a big old pinch of salt.
Big old pinch of salt.
John James is at 34%, Jocelyn Benson's at 32%, and Mike Duggan's at 26%. Among voters who definitely plan to cast ballots. Now, Duggan's numbers don't get any better. This is just where he's kind of flatlining. So it's also worth noting that Garland Gilchrist is not in this poll because he has dropped out of the race for governor and has instead thrown his hat into the ring for Secretary of State.
Which I think is intelligent.
It's very intelligent. You have three people, essentially Duggan Gilchrist and Jocelyn Benson running. I know Duggan's running as an independent, but I think our fears are realized when you start to look at these three-way tie numbers that the Republican voters they're not going to cross over and vote for Duggan. I don't believe that that's actually going to happen. I think he splits the Democratic ticket.
Yep.
And I think we end up with a John James for governor.
I would really hate for our first black governor to be John James.
I would fucking hate that too.
That would piss me off.
That would be a slap in the face.
It really would. But and I'll say that openly. I don't care. But I think this is a very interesting poll considering. I actually think Jocelyn Benson is closer in this poll than I thought she would be.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought, given who conducted the poll, and really I don't know where they polled, but I thought it would be like 35 John James, and then it would be like a 30-30 for Benson Duggan. So it's interesting. I think the summertime is going to be where
this is so early.
It's so early.
We're like talking about stuff that people don't like. We're so far away from this.
Yeah.
That I kind of.
We haven't even really seen them start stumping yet
exactly.
to any significant degree. So this is the super duper preliminary numbers. But one thing I did see is that in another poll, Gen Z voters are now plus 40 with Democrats.
They just need to go vote.
That's the problem.
Go out and vote.
But they're plus 40. They were plus 4 this time in 2024.
Plus 4 to plus 40.
To plus 40.
That's amazing.
I'm just saying, I'm ready to hand the keys of all of this shit over to Gen Z. Guys, I'm
Don't
just
skip
happily
us.
fucking.
It's our turn first.
Millennials,
You
baby.
know what?
It's our turn
She's Gen X. She's just
I'm
fucking
Gen
over
X.
it.
I'm just fucking over it.
It's
I'm
our
giving the
turn
keys to
first,
the
man.
kids.
Look
I'm
at
just
Zoran.
like,
Look at Mary. Look at
I'm
Zoran.
just saying.
Yeah,
We're
well,
doing good.
How about it, kids? Hey, can we just talk for a minute about our current governor?
Yes.
Okay, sure.
So I'm just like so ready for a change. I just can't, like, I'm so disappointed in her.
I'm just interested. Like, she's been so silent over all of these issues, including Venezuela, really including
ICE.
The situation with ICE.
I can't lie. I thought she was still in Japan for a minute.
That was like months ago.
I thought she was still there. That's how little we've heard from her.
Other than her virtue signaling.
Oh,
that
she did do
she's been doing.
there were a couple of posts that she.
Oh, with the black fraternity.
Yeah,
Which is fine. You can do that. That's great. Do that. But also, where are you on these other huge, giant, terrible fucking things that are happening to us? We all know it's the worst kept secret that she's going to run for president. Like, the playbook is there. We know exactly what's the writing is on the wall. You gotta stand up and like actually talk about these things. And it's kind of the same with Ford of Ford. I can't think of his name.
I keep wanting to say is Bill Clay Ford.
Bill. It's one of the Bills.
I think it's Bill Ford.
It's a William.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's kind of the same thing where your non-response is the response. And because I've had a lot of people who've weighed in, who've said, oh, she's got to do what she's got to do to protect Michigan and all of that. We still got kids being taken that are in high school and younger by ICE in our communities. Like, that's happening right now in Michigan. Just because they're
under
not
her watch.
Under her watch.
Yeah.
Just
It's still
because
her administration.
they're not ramping up ICE raids here like they are in Minneapolis doesn't mean that it's not happening here in Detroit, Saginaw, Flint, Grand Rapids, across the state. So I want to know where you're at on this, because we got a Democratic primary that's going to be here before you know it. And if you are going to run for president, as of right now, I can't vote for you.
So I think the big thing is all this stuff is happening. Obviously, she's not saying anything about it. And at the end of the day, the thing that concerns me greatly about all of this is we all knew that it would event all of the sort of ICE, the work, all the shit that ICE has been pulling over the last 12 months was going to end up in some form of violence.
Yes.
It was going to end up, and you can see what's happening. They've really doubled down in Minnesota at the moment. Don't think for 1 minute that can't or won't come here to Michigan. All it's going to take is one fucking ICE agent who is trigger happy and decides that, one of our people.
You made a
out
furtive
there-
move.
Right.
You made a
Exactly.
furtive movement, so I got to take you out.
So it's like, okay, your silence is basically because there is some work happening in Michigan by local electeds who are trying to protect Detroit.
Absolutely.
At a local level, and to protect the people, the immigrants in Detroit and everyone else. And I'm just not seeing anything in terms of support of any of that either.
Yeah, it's very disappointing.
governor.
And I think, the silence in terms of, I have to protect Michigan is at this point a terrible excuse, because at bare minimum, you can say, all right, but they killed a citizen.
Yeah.
Right? At bare minimum, right?
And
I'm not valuing anybody's life above anybody else's.
No.
But if that's the line that you draw, that is the line you can stand on, and people will stand with you.
And we will all feel so much better if she comes out and says, and I will not allow that on my fucking watch here in Michigan.
Right.
So
You will
do not come
kill,
here.
You will not kill citizens.
You're not going to kill my
she's
citizens.
just
The
super
citizens,
checked out.
Exactly.
It feels like she's checked out. I don't know where my leadership is, and the House here in Michigan needs to flip back over to Democrat. We need to keep the Senate Democrat, and the top of our ticket that's been in power for the last 2 terms can't stand up and start saying things about supporting our democratic values and what it means to be an American and a Michigan citizen, then you might as well kiss the House and the Senate goodbye, because she should be out there talking about
and
our
she's effective when she does, and that's the part I think that I don't really understand is that
she is such an effective messenger.
Absolutely.
And she over the many years, look how she protected us and what she did during the pandemic. She really has.
Where is that person?
Correct. She
Where
really
has she
has
gone?
that capacity to kind of like reach us and give us comfort.
Even
and
look
help
at
us
how she
feel
mobilized, how she mobilized women when it came to the 2021 vote and making sure that women's right to choose was protected.
2022,
2022, excuse me.
I worked on that campaign.
Yeah, was protected in Michigan and made sure that she could win re-election and create the trifecta and a coalition of democratic power.
Yeah.
So,
and that's exactly what I mean is, we really need someone to stand up for us right now. And I'm not seeing that leadership there. And that's what's really frustrating for me. I don't want to leave the pod on this note. I feel like we need to talk about some of the things that have been giving us joy this week. So why don't you all just tell the audience what's
Norris,
been giving you joy?
Soccer.
It's
the Africa Cup of Nations.
Oh.
And so pretty much this evening, I'm going to be like locked in and watching Nigeria play Morocco. By the time y'all hear this, somebody will have won. I got to root for Nigeria because ethnically I'm not, I am Igbo. So I got to rock with Nigeria. But one of my best friends, she's Moroccan. So we just going to be talking shit all evening via text. And it's really been nice. I think sports not centralized in America have been incredible to be a big fan of because I can just shut off for a little bit.
Nice.
So that's what I've been doing.
Good. What's been giving you joy, Julie?
Okay. Fuck.
I will not let these people take my joy from me.
No, joy is its own form of resistance.
I think I'm still, this last week has been quite a lot. And I think I'm still, like, literally walked out of this pod record last week and found out, the news of
Oh, yeah.
That was,
and I think, unfortunately, we're so deep in it that it gets difficult sometimes to, in fact, I sent a message to my best girlfriend last night saying, in Australia, and said, hey, I had no idea how my body would react in living in a fascist society. But I've worked out by 4 o'clock, all I want to do is take my bra off, take a gummy and climb under the covers. So that's apparently how I'm reacting. But joy, look, you know what? Honestly, it's always hanging out with those that I really enjoy the company of. So had, a few martinis, with mates the other night. That was fun. And, I think that's kind of like organising Resistor Sisters. We're doing another year of Resistor Sisters this year, so I'm excited for that. So just kind of trying to find ways to on-ramp others. But yeah, the joys. But I'm not going to lie. It's been
hard.
A tough
It's
week
been a
for
rough
joy.
week.
Very, very
it's been
tough
a tough
week.
week for joy.
It's been tough.
I did contemplate laying on the couch and doing
the pod
that way.
We should.
We should. We
need to do
the
that.
right time to do that.
We'll all take turns. We can all take turns. So for me this week, I was driving my youngest to school and Prince came on.
Oh.
And I was like, then one of my favorite Prince songs is 7. So I was just putting that on repeat and just getting into my Prince for a little bit. And that was nice. It was music. It kind of took me away.
I think that's great advice because music is what kind of gives me like, okay, I just need to shut off this fucking noise and news and throw on some music. So it's a good
9 Inch Nails for me this morning. There was a lot of Trent Reznor
Nice.
this morning. I needed some rage. So that music has been really helpful. And
When I need to rage, just a lot of NBA YoungBoy. It's just nonsense. Just he has like 18 kids. It's great.
Oh my God.
He's the worst person. But his music
God,
is
I never know if you're saying people are good or bad. The boys do the same thing to me here. They're always like, they say, "Oh, he's gas," and I'm like, "Is that good or bad?" I got no idea.
Lord.
Gas is good.
Yeah, I know
is
gas is good, but gas is good when you're talking about, I don't know, fascists. Hard to
I
tell.
don't know. Listen, anyway, with that said, that's going to be the end of our episode of Point of Disorder. Again, if you like it, you could come and check us out on YouTube or any of your social media channels. Just search Point of Disorder Podcast. Thanks for listening or watching this week. Once again, follow us on all of our social medias. Watch the content. Point of Disorder, at Distill Social, and at The Guerrilla Politic. I'm Norris Howard, and
We'll see you next Thursday.
Bye.
And that's a wrap on today's episode of Point of Disorder. We'd like to extend a huge thank you to everyone who listened today. And if you like us, give us a like, a subscribe, or a review on any place you get your podcasts. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Distill Social and at The Guerrilla Politic. This is the Point of Disorder Podcast, signing off. Stay sharp, stay progressive, and above all, stay tuned.